Hello, 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 everybody. Jump in. Oh, let's get this sorted. Now, I'm here. I just have one or two more small things to do around, and then I'll be with you. Hi. Hey, how's it going, everyone? God, it's good to be back. I'm glad you're with me. Yeah, I must just do one or two small things now. Something was on my mind. Everybody, I feel like I'm seeing friends that I haven't seen in ages and weeks. So great, 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 great to see you now again. Ready for it. Let me just do a few little housekeeping things. Sure, as you're aware, some of you have friends joining us tonight, so this might be their first time doing this class with me. I'm sure, God, sure, everyone's done Zoom stuff at this stage. It'd be very strange if you hadn't. Make sure your microphone is on mute. Your camera is your own choice, and if you want to have that on. Gee, there's tons of us here this evening. Party. I'll just throw on some bopping music instead of yoga altogether. Let's see. Yeah, we're all in. So yeah, that's the main thing, just your microphone. Obviously, you'll have your yoga mat. I use, most of you'll know, but for those of you who are new joining in, I tend to use yoga blocks a good bit. If you have them, get them. If you don't, just use like a poof or something that's around, something that you can kind of lean into certain parts. Anything will do. Send me your pictures of what you use later for the crack. And often I'll use a yoga strap, but it's just a strap. So you could use the, long strap of a dressing gown or a jumper. Anything would actually do, anything that's got length and it isn't elastic and stretchy. So just give yourself a chance to get those few bits and pieces if you're having them nearby. Something that will give you a bit of support. And water. And ideally, not right beside a blazing hot fire because you're going to get warm. But look I could not light it this evening. Yeah, just check that everyone's in who needs to be in. Yeah. Throw off your microphones. Cool. I hope you had a nice break. Great, good. Right, we're just going to jump straight in. Lie yourself down on your back. So you can have your socks on, be as cozy as you want at this stage. All we want to do now is slow down, settle back to our first session after Christmas. I am going to work, of course, but before you expect yourself and your body to kind of do detailed movements and all that crack, we want to slow down. We want to stop after the Monday that we've had. I'll sit up in a second because I want to talk you through a few things, but I want you to try and find a comfortable position where you're lying on your back. Make any little adjustment that you feel you need to feel utterly relaxed here. Remembering you're at home. Like you really are in your comfort zone here. This is, in many ways, the perfect way to wind down and practice some stretches and some strength work, because at this stage of your practice, you have such a good grasp of the basics that you'll be well able to develop on yourself at home with some guidance. So take a moment here to stop, to listen, to breathe. Take a moment to come back onto your mat. It might have been a while. And we know that we're only one deep breath away from relaxation. So take a big one. A breath that brings you down. That makes you feel closer to the ground. A breath that almost moves a little bit of that excited energy that might be in your body right now. Those little butterflies, or sometimes just getting to the first class, getting on the mat, that first session again. It can just be a little bit, I don't know, giddy, or what's a good word for it? You'll have one that'll pop into your mind. So a good, relaxing, stabilizing breath when you're lying down on your mat is the perfect way to start. Become aware of the contact points between your body and the mat. And with your next exhale, your next breath out, try and let some of those contact points get even closer to the mat. Don't worry, you won't switch off so much that you'll fall asleep here. This is just a little section, a little moment of time where I want you to slow down. I want you to physically slow down, take a moment, and just check in with yourself, see how you're feeling. What we want to do with our practice week on week is we want to try and dissolve anything that's weighing you down. We want to try and chip away at it. You know what that stuff is, all of us do. Through breath, through movement. We want to dissolve it bit by bit, week by week, pose by pose. Naturally enough, emotions are running high these days. Emotion, when you even think of the word E and the motion, energy and motion, emotion, we want to move it. That's what we're here for. We want to move that energy, change how we're feeling physically, and by default, it will just happen mentally. You don't even need to worry about that. It's just going to happen. So on your back, take your knees up to your chest, up to your tummy, and just hold on to them any way that's right for you. Could be knees apart or could be knees together. And I want you to move a little bit side to side. Where I want your mind going now is into your lower back, into the back of the hips. I want you to just feel it out and think, God, if I move side to side or create circles here with my lower body, can I get an effect that feels like a massage at the back of the body somewhere? Maybe it's lower back, you want to feel that massage. Maybe you think it's glutes, back of the hips that need that massage effect a little bit more. So it's easy when you know what you're looking for. Okay, take one leg in, let the other leg stretch out, straightforward enough. We'll build this one now into a nice hamstring stretch. The leg that you've got, I want you to hold on behind the thigh, behind the knee, behind the calf, wherever is comfortable for you. Now, I don't expect you to straighten your knee. That's not what we're after here. What I'm after is that you can keep both hips on the mat, both bum cheeks on the mat. And now I want you to play around with the foot in the air. I want you to roll that foot around. So you are essentially mobilizing your ankle joint here. But when you look a little deeper and you feel a little deeper into this position, you'll feel that you're getting a little calf stretch dependent on the foot position, and you're getting a little hamstring mobility, a little stretch through there. How straight you get your knee? Well, that's up to your own hamstring. So there's no requirement here. You know, it's not work towards straightening your knee, or it's not please try. It's just notice where you're at with that leg today, and then we'll just change sides. So these are all just opening moves, moves that you learn a little bit more about yourself in, okay? So leg in the air, you feel some bit of a stretch with the leg up there, and then you're moving the ankle, the foot, the toes. You're doing something beneficial for your ankle joints, but also you can be working your way into more of a hamstring stretch here. So it's very straightforward. Hopefully you're thinking, yes, good to be back. I can do these moves. That's what we want. Now 2 legs together, why not? You can hold and support the backs of the legs, or you can lightly reach your arms up towards your toes. Now, play around with this. You could bend and straighten one knee at a time. You could straighten the 2 knees together. Go with what feels manageable. It's just a little warm-up thing. You'll naturally feel those tummy muscles are kicking in like hell now. You might feel a little bit of a shake there, all good if you do. Now feet come down onto the mat. Separate your feet wide, so wide that the toes have now gone off to the edge of the mat. 2 knees now will go all the way in one direction. Rotate, let them go as far as they can. Breathe here. Should give you a nice feeling of a quad stretch on the leg that's off the ground, and then the other way, all the way over. So kind of quads, little bit on the outer aspect of the thigh. If you've got things in your way, take your time and just move them. Over and back a few times. It's called a windscreen wiper movement for the legs, if you can visualize that. So some will feel a gentle stretch in the back, many won't. Lots of people will just feel this one in the hips. This is a gorgeous rotation for the ball and socket joint of your hips. Why not? What have you been doing today? Have you been at a desk? Have you been running around the house? Most likely, whatever the thing you've been doing is, this will help those hips. They'll thank you for it. Now we'll just move easily into a little glute stretch. Take the feet together. Cross one foot over one thigh and lift the legs towards you. You can wrap your hands around the bottom leg, the bottom thigh. You can either wrap your hands around the thigh, or if you feel comfortable doing it, you take your hands around the shin. You decide. Again, it's all down to the mobility of the hip of the leg you've crossed over. So it could be right for some people, left for the other. It's down to that hip joint, really. That's what's in charge here. So we just breathe here and we just let the stretch happen when we're in the position that's most suitable for us. So some people might feel like that's enough of a stretch for them. Some will grab behind the thigh, some will grab behind the knee, and wait till you see the other side's going to be different. It's very common, and it's most noticeable when you slow down like this in yoga, that you become quite aware of the asymmetries, the slight differences between both sides of your body. You can also pick fluff out from your toes, from your socks, you know, multitask away while you're here, and then change over sides. So just checking in, do you feel a difference? Is it the very same? Do you feel the stretch in a similar area? Can you grab the shin on this side without lifting the bum? If you could do it on the other side. I feel like my two hips are different, you know, like one side just doesn't want to be pushed as far as the other side. Fair enough. You just listen to that, accept it, and have a moment here just to settle in, still settling in here nicely before we go crazy. And we won't go too crazy first day. I'll just get you in the zone, welcome you in. Okay, come out of that. Right, little bridge position. So feet together for this one if you can. Inner thighs together, inner knees together. Hands are down on the ground. Just roll your spine, pressing the spine down onto the mat. Squeeze your bum muscles and pick up the hips. Lift them, lift them, lift them, lift them. Using your leg muscles, obviously, using the hips to push yourself up as high as you can. Now, the arms, can you get the hands? Link them underneath your bum. So linking the fingers, linking the hands. And now we're going to play around with shoulders. So lift and pull one shoulder underneath you further, then the other one. That becomes a chest stretch. So you're now almost up on your shoulder blades here, if you get me, rather than putting pressure on the spine. Squeeze the hips, push the hips up, but keep the thighs together. They're going to want to break apart. Don't let them, welcome to pelvic floor exercise land, don't let those thighs rip apart here. You want to keep your hips moving inwards, almost trying to get the two hip sockets closer together here. Let's roll all the way down. Oh, and the nicest thing to do is open out wide. Arms out, feet together, knees out, breathe. So after strengthening the inner thighs, you're now just allowing them to kind of release, open out, do nothing. Have a big belly breath here, it's good for you. So that's just a little bit of work on the lower part. We're going to bring a bit more work into the upper part now, but to do that, you're best off coming up into sitting. So roll yourself around, push yourself up. I like sitting on the little blocks because it just gives my lower back just a little more support than sitting on the ground. You choose. If you're sitting on little blocks or you're sitting just up to yourself, up you come, and we'll do just an opener for the shoulders. And then we'll get a little bit more flowy, a little bit more creative with our moves. Right, simple. Arms reach out all the way up. Big breath in. And we exhale, the hands come down to your heart center, this position in the middle of your chest. This seems easy. It's a nice little opener for the shoulders. You've just been lying down a lot on them now. All the way up. Exhale down. Out and up again. Last one. Exhale down. Okay, keep the hands here. Press the hands firmly in together. Gentle wrist stretch by making your elbow, wrist and elbow line up, as you can see. So I'm not looking kind of for your classic prayer position here. I'm looking for a hand stretch, a wrist stretch, gently pressing all fingers into one another, pressing the wrists into one another. And even more detail if you spread your fingers out quite wide. Great, interlace the fingers and now push the palms away from you. We're going to reach up to the sky and take a little side tilt all the way over to one side. Grand and gentle, all the way over to the other side. One more each side. Maybe you hear little clicks in the back. Maybe you feel like this is getting into corners of your spine, of your waist that need a little opening up before we go into bigger poses. That'll be different every evening for you. Okay, last thing in this position. Reach up one hand like you're climbing a rope and then the other. And up again. And then the other, like you're deepening into spaces now that just mightn't have seen the light of day. When you think about it, underarms, waist. Just mightn't have got that chance today, unless you're cleaning the top shelf. No, that wasn't happening for sure in this house. Roll the shoulders, take your hands behind your back. I'm moving, you don't need to. I just need you to link the hands, pull the shoulders back, and then reach the arms back behind you. Lots of breath. Get a nice little chest stretch, loads of space there in the chest for as much as you can. Okay, break that and then come up into standing. If you have little blocks, it's going to come in really, really handy here now already. If you don't, use a book. Use something that you can just get one foot up onto. I just want to get into the calf for what we're about to do now in a little while. Put one foot up on the block. You see the way I've kind of sidestepped here. I've taken one foot and put it quite far back from the other foot. I'm not going to feel anything in this position right now. What I really need you to do is step up fairly close to the other foot. Now, if you don't have something like a block, use a wall. So put the ball of your foot up against a wall or a door, something that's near you. Now, when you stand up tall, then you're getting into your calf. You feel it? It should feel pretty deep. And just be here, sit with it for a sec, or stand with it, essentially. Sit with it, stand with it, be with it, breathe into it. It's juicy stuff. There's a lot of muscle down there to stretch, so it's nice just to be specific and get that bit all by itself. All right, shake it out. Quite a big reason for why we did those ankle swirls a while ago. I just wanted to loosen those guys up first. Other foot. Now, as you can see, like there's so many little ways that you can do this without being effective. So this is it. If your one foot is way back, it's not going to be as effective. But if you can get yourself to kind of alignment or the same, roughly the same position with your feet under each hip, then you're laughing, you're into it. And then you're tall. And notice, the more you straighten the knee that you're working with, the more the intensity of that stretch is brought on. So I'd say across the board, 50-50, love and hate this. It's a real one that some people are like, oh, I need it, it's great. And some people are hating this right now. But I like it, so I tend to do it a bit. I like the feel. It's so specific and it's so deep to the muscle. It's great. Bring it. Can you roll out your wrists just a little bit more, because we're going to crack on with a downward dog now in a second. So just flick them around, loosen them up. Good, strong, straight position, making the most out of that calf stretch. And then let's come down to the mat. And we're bringing our hands to the floor, out wide, legs are back, bum in the air. Now here we are, upside down. Pedal the legs, the hips, the knees, moving and mobilizing the joints of the legs. That's all we want to do here. Not worry about anything too specific or too detailed. Just have a bit of fun with it. Great. Move your body forwards now into plank, where your shoulders are over your hands. Have the hands out pretty wide here. I want you to try gently to pull your hands towards your feet and your feet towards your hands. That's when you intentionally switch on a lot of abdominal muscle, a muscle at the front line of your body. Breathe here. Don't let that breath drop or don't hold it. Push back up to downward dog again. Again, we're back to pedaling. We're kind of in a softening pose here. Plank is kind of hard, hardening, tightening, whereas downward dog here, a little more lengthening, a little more softening. Okay, forwards again. Here we are, nice strong plank, but the trick is trying to make sure your bum isn't sticking up. Tuck the bum down and pull your hands to your feet. Pull your feet to your hands, intentionally tensioning the front of your body. Well done. Lower down onto the mat. Point the toes, push into the hands to lift your chest. That's cobra. Big breath in there. And now push your body back and you'll end up in child's pose, where your bum lands somewhere over your heels. Your head comes down low, and then the hands stretch right out so that you get an underarm stretch. Whether your hand or your head touches the mat or not is irrelevant. It's not really, that's not the point of this. The point of this is just to give your back a break and to allow your underarms to get a little more stretch. It's a place that just doesn't get stretched enough, into the underarms. You think about all that's going on in there, all of those lymph glands, all of the arteries and veins, and the nerves. Just give them a little length there, some space. Now move your hands to the left, the two of them, and keep your hands out pretty wide. And you should feel a nice stretch through the right side of the body. Push your hips to the right if your hands go left. Breathe here. Relax the head, neck and shoulders. Move your hands to the other side of the mat. So now my hands are going right. I'm trying to keep some bit of width between my hands so they're not together here. Big stretch through a big muscle called your latissimus dorsi, all the way down from the shoulder, underarm area, down along the waist, into the top part of the pelvis. Your breath helps it, and pushing your hips to the left will help too, will deepen it. So if we're interested in just going into deeper layers than just what a pose might look like, try and do one or two of those extra bits. It can make all the difference. Cool. Come back onto the mat. Bring your hands onto the mat. Knees are under your shoulders, hands underneath hands under shoulders, knees under hips. You know it better than I do. Cat and cow. A lovely little loosener for the back. We're going to be on our feet now again in a second. So just unravel. Breathing in when your head and tail go up is a good pattern to get into here for your core, for your mind, for your body. How is your back feeling today? A bit tired? A bit sick of the couch? For sure, I'm just going on about my back when I say things like that. It's just a bit sick of the couch these days. So this is welcome. Okay. Take the left foot forwards. All right. And what I'd like you to do is now move your body back, rolling back up onto the left heel. Now this left knee is going to be bent. It's very rare that that's straight because you tend to have to round your back a lot to be there. I'd prefer you to have a fairly straight back. I'm kind of balancing on one hand while I tell you this, and have a little bend in your knee, because what I really want you to play around with now is sticking the bum out behind you, moving your chest tummy a little closer to the thigh here, and then wagging your tail a little bit left to right. So I'm hopeful that that will get you into a deep place for the hamstrings. Slow little wag of the tail left to right. Now notice that the angle of your foot, as in toes pointed away from you versus toes pointed back to you, will make a difference to your stretch. I'd like you to tailor it to whatever depth of stretch you feel is beneficial for you today. Some days, like just for example, if you have been sitting a lot, the hamstrings might just feel a little bit sensitive or tight when you're doing this stretch. So, you don't have to pull hard at this. Just kind of sneak up on it a little bit. Or maybe you're using this as something that, will really help treat and deeply stretch out a tight, strong hamstring. In that case, go for it. Like, pull those toes back to your face. You'll know what I'm on about there. Okay, this is fun. Let's move forwards. Back knee comes off the ground, right? So here, before you even get upright, you're going to have your knee in front over the ankle. That's a straight line. Strong straight back leg to help support you. Palm of the right hand down on the floor, left arm reaches up to the ceiling. Now, when you reach up the top hand, stretch back your back foot as far as you can. Stretch the heel back, squeeze the back side, the glute of the back leg. Lift your chest. If you want to come up onto your fingertips, do so. The less pressure on that right hand, the more advanced the move becomes. Breathe. Magic. Bring the hand down, a little softness now in the back knee, and you're going to prop yourself up. You need softness in that back knee to get straight in your spine. If it is straight, the back knee, your body will tilt forward. So little softness, little bend in the back knee. Now, I hope you're feeling a little bit of heat here. Or is it just me in the fire? I'm not sure. 2 hands on your hips. Inhale, reach the arms out and up like we did when you were sitting. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, reach the arms out and up. There's only 3. Hands to heart center. Well done. Keep going. Inhale, reach the arms up. Hands to heart center. Okay, pause here. Stay breathing, but pause the movement. I want you to push your right hip forward slightly, draw your pubic bone up to your belly button slightly, and I'm expecting the right thigh to be under a bit of pressure here. Back leg, thigh. Bit of heat there? I hope so. Big breath in, exhale, lower really slowly the back knee towards the ground. Don't let it drop, don't even let it touch the mat, just tease it. Beautiful. And then come all the way back up again, hands to the mat, take back the front leg and downward dog. Woo! So I hope you notice the difference there between two legs now. You're kind of thinking, right, did that. Let's do that for the other side. Huge, well done. But before we go directly to the other side, let's do a little flow where we move forwards to plank. Pull your hands to your feet, feet to hands. So intentionally tighten the front of your body, then lower to the ground. Relax the feet. Inhale up into little cobra. Exhale back to downward dog. Got it. Well done. Now just bring your knees down to the floor. Right foot will come forwards now. Give yourself a moment just to, readjust whatever you need to. And we're going to move our body back now. So we're thinking of this hamstring again. The hamstring, front leg. When you get back to a position that's suitable for this side of the body, we're trying to feel out a hamstring stretch for the right thigh and the front leg. So let's move into it. Let's do a dynamic stretch where you're wagging your tail one side to the other, trying not to absolutely hunch the back. Look, a little bit of flexion is fine. We're just trying not to hunch too much. It is more about sticking your bum out behind you than it is about like having your nose touch your knee or something like that. After a few weeks off, I tell you, I'm out of practice myself. Feeling it. That foot angle will make a difference, so the foot pulling back towards your face will certainly make it feel stronger if that's what you're after. Play around with it. Figure out your own intensity level, what suits, what's working, and then move forwards again to back off it for a moment. Now, we want to take the back knee off the floor and straighten the back leg. So it's not kind of a loose dangling back leg, it's very powerful. It's a support arch. We need it. Left hand is on the floor, right arm reaches up. It's a lunge and twist. But what we want to do is lift our chest, breathe, send the back heel as far away from you to the wall behind you as you can to challenge the center of your body a bit more. The less you lean on that left hand, the bigger workload it puts into your body. So how much do you want? Nice, bring down the right hand, soften the back knee a tiny little bit, and then pop yourself back up. Right, business time. Want to pop the hands on the hips, softening the back knee. So maybe already you're thinking, whoo, the quad's feeling something. I hope so. That means you're in the right position. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, arms out and up. Exhale, hands to heart center. It just invigorates you a bit, doesn't it? Inhale, reach up. Exhale, hands to heart center and stabilize your movement. So slow it on down. Feel the heat, breathe into it because it'll be there. It should be there now in the quad. Push your left hip forwards. It's only a touch. Move the pubic bone of your pelvis up towards your belly button to really get in there to that quad and hip flexor. Are you ready for the tease? Okay, let's drop it slowly, lowering the knee really slowly. I feel it too. I'm with you. You got it. And then release the whole shebang. Come back to downward dog. Shake it off. And let's do something really nice for those quads now. Move it forwards to plank. Lay onto the floor. And just have a sec. Okay? quads, they deserve a little kindness now after that. So bring your legs close together. Grab onto one foot any way you like. If you can't get the foot, hold onto a tracksuit. Lower your head down. And now try this technique here. Gently push the front of your hips towards the mat. And that's often enough to get the deepest level of stretch that you need for that quad. Actively working the back of the hips, the glutes, to make sure that the front of the hips, the hip flexors and the quads are getting something done, getting a deep stretch through. So it isn't about pulling your foot to your bum. Once you've got a hold of it, the stretch happens from your hips. There's so much I want to do with you. First day back, I'm finding it tricky to not keep you here till 10 o'clock tonight. I won't, obviously. But loads of juicy moves for your body to come. Okay, let that one off. Try the other side. So once you've got a hold of it, whether it's foot or whatever, tracksuit, just once your upper body shoulder is comfy, make it happen from your hips. Gently pressing the anterior hip, the front of the pelvis down onto the mat, or your pubic bone, some people think of that, pushing that down onto the mat. That should get you in there to the glutes, or to the quads, front of your thighs. We have to use the front of our thighs and our glutes again for the next little move. It's going to be great crack. I think you'll enjoy it. There's a bit of a balance aspect to it. Try it all out. See how you go with it. Let's take the leg down. Hands go to the sides of your chest. A little cobra is you pulling the elbows in, pressing into the earth just to lift your chest, head, shoulders. Big breath in. Now curl the toes under, move yourself up and back. You're in downward dog again, and just give your feet, ankles a little pedal around, a bit of movement. And that should do the trick there. Feet together this time now, toes touching. Let's send the right leg high up in the air behind you. But what I'd like you to concentrate on is the left knee. So you can see it. Now you see how, left its own devices, it might rotate inwards. I don't want that here. I'd like you to keep the kneecap shining forwards. So I don't really mind how high the back leg goes, as long as you've got some bit of control on the standing leg. Now allow the standing leg's heel to move as close as possible to the ground. I'm not expecting it to touch the ground. Just give your calf a deep stretch there. Now the right knee is going to move forwards in the air, and I want you to try and get the right heel to touch your right bum cheek. You're basically in plank now, in this awful contraption of a position, just trying to strengthen. Now right foot forwards to the front of the mat. You can always drop down the back knee to make that happen. Okay, always adjust and do your thing there to make it happen. I want you to lift up the back leg now. A little bend in your right knee will do the trick here. The right knee now I want you to try and control. That right knee in this position could rotate inwards. I want you to correct it and try and keep that right knee shining forwards. That's all I need you to do there. Now pick up the toes of the right foot and push a bit more energy into the heel of that foot. I don't mind how high the back leg is, as long as there's tons of heel pressure through the right foot and the right kneecap is shining forwards. Lovely. Back to downward dog. Woo. There's detail in that day one, because I'll talk about those things in balance poses. At least you'll have an idea about what I'm on about. Let's just do it for the other side and see what that's like. Feet are together. Left leg's reaching up, nice and high. Now the right kneecap is the one to monitor here. Make sure the right kneecap shines forward. Send the right heel towards the ground to get a good calf stretch there. Lots of breath. Lots of heat. Now left knee moves forward. You pull it up towards your tummy. You try and get the left heel to touch your left bum. It kind of doesn't, does it? But you're just playing with it. Can you create a bit of a connection there? Left foot up to the front of the mat. All right, playtime. Right leg is lifting now. Breathe here. And I'm more interested in what your left knee is doing than what your right leg is doing. So the standing leg. Kneecap shining forwards. There can be a little bend in the knee. And now play around with no pressure in your toes. 90% of the pressure in the heel. So it's like you're kind of sitting back into that leg. And when you push into the heel, you make the glutes work a little harder. Whoo, lots of breath. You don't need to see me. Just feel it out. Pressure into the heel. Maybe there's a shake. Just means you're alive and well. Downward dog. Great. Move forwards into plank. Lie on down. Chill. Do nothing for a sec. So just come down. Have a breath. Welcome all that energy, all that motion, all that flowing, moving motion in your body. Just bring it down again. Bring your breath back. I want us to do a nice gentle extension for our spine now, because we have potentially been flexed for a little while there now with those moves. I want you to prop yourself up onto your elbows. This is gentle enough. It's as gentle as you need it to be. So the hands now are down on the mat. Fingers are widely spread out. Toes pointed away from you and the legs close enough together. Elbows are under the shoulders, as you can see. Sometimes you can be in this position and feel compression in your lower back. I don't like that. If that's the case, I want you to lower down just a little bit. Take the pressure off your lower back. Try now to press the pubic bone down onto the mat, the front of your pelvis. You might feel like it lifts your tummy a little bit away from the mat. Great. If it does, that's you using your abdominal trunk muscles. Brilliant. Let's use them. We need them for the health of our strength of our back. Now I want you to press your feet down onto the mat. You may feel that the kneecaps lift a little. So we've got two areas now, pubic bone, feet, pressing down hard. Lift your chest a little bit more now. That's pushing into your elbows. And the pièce de résistance, despite your breath, is the real piece here. Your wrists, when you look at them, you'll see that they're nearly arched off the mat at this stage. Push them down. Get those wrists down onto the mat. So we've now got pelvis down, feet down, elbows down, chest up, wrists down. Brilliant upper body strengthener. Make sure your neck is not getting tight here, not getting involved. Breathe. Well done. Let it go. Come away from it. Now, who's for a nice pigeon pose after all that? I hope you're into it. It's a lovely one. Great for the legs. Slowly come up to all fours. Here's what I suggest you do. Just do a little child's pose after that. I'm going to turn away from the fire now. It's just too hot. Have your blocks near you. You might need one in a sec. What you're going to aim to do now is bring your right knee up to touch your right hand. Right knee, right hand. Get that? Move the right foot across the mat. So it's basically in front of your left hip. And then we're going to move back the back leg as far back as we feel it'll go. Now, some people will do pigeon pose and roll their bum onto the ground. Don't like it, not great for the lower back. So in practice, what's so much better is to just get a block or something, cushion even, slot it in underneath the gap between your bum and the floor. That just gives you a touch of support there. And then come on down onto your elbows. There should be no knee pain here. If there is any knee pain, move the leg to a much happier position. Sometimes that just means moving the right foot a little closer to the middle of the mat, as opposed to over near the left-hand side. And then you're in it, right? Loads of upper body options. You could make a little pillow for your head with your hands. That'll do nicely. You could have your head rest on the floor. You don't want your head down, just drop your head into your hands so you have your head up all the time. And then breathe and just be here without having to challenge yourself or look for detail anywhere. You're in the pose. This is much more of a chill pose than some of the other poses that I played with there. Hardly even got around to giving you the names of those poses. So many of them are kind of precursors to what's to come in the next few weeks. So, if you get an opportunity during the week to do this class again, please do, because it'll really build up your strength so you'll enjoy the few weeks ahead so much. Handy that way, those recordings. Move the back leg back a little bit further if you feel like it'll go now, having been here for a breath or two. You can move your head position if you prefer. Good old pigeon pose, this one's called. Lovely glute stretch, hip stretch. Some will feel like they could stay here forever, and I know some of you are thinking, get me out of this position as quick as you can. We will all have some poses that we love and some poses that are really challenging, so a little bit of everything is the way to go there. Okay, come on up, upper body. A classic way to change this level of practice is plank. So you could curl the toes under and create plank and then change sides, or you could go to all fours. Your call, okay? So you could go directly to all fours and just wiggle, or you could do it from plank. So now it's left knee to touch left hand. Get that connection, it'll start you off right. And then the left foot moves across to the other side of the mat. Back leg nudges back to wherever is good for you. And then you're bringing in your block to underneath your left hip, or the gap between your thigh and the floor. And you're lowering down, getting low, getting your upper body into a happy place. And this is really targeting glutes, hips, no knee pressure. So if you feel that, change it. I don't like it all knee pressure here. I prefer you to modify it so that you feel things happening more around the hip area. Again, you could feel like one of those poses that you could stay in all evening. It might feel like a real challenge, so let's just breathe with it. Try and find a comfort zone within it. And just bring the energy down again in this pose. One thing I think about now today in practice that you kind of only realise when you haven't done it in a while, is that it's so hard to, it's very rare that you would do stretching in inverted commas or strength work for your body weight stuff for this length of time by yourself, isn't it? If I hadn't got you here, I'd be very hard to motivate to do that much of it in a go. So well done you. It's a huge achievement to look after your body in this way. It'll thank you for it. You'll sleep great tonight. You can move the back leg back if it goes anywhere further back, or head down, lower, change. Adjust little things the longer you're here. Breathe. The breath really does add something here, so you'll figure that out as time goes. And then slowly we bring ourselves back upright again. Go back to all fours. A little cat and cow can feel quite nice with spine after that, of any sort. Really just spinal mobility there is quite nice. And I just want you to sit with your legs crossed for a gentle twist. Stay in a kind of a wound down mode now. The hard stuff is done. You're going to cross the legs, sit up nice and tall. And we just take one hand around to one thigh, one knee. The other hand just finds the ground behind you. Lift your spine, get really tall here. Inhale and then exhale, deepening your twist a little bit. Big breath in to give you a bit of length. Breath out will just bring you around into it as far as that side of your body wants to go this evening. Let's gently come back from that position. And we'll take ourselves around carefully, nice and gently around into the other position. Opposite side, inhale, gives you space to twist. So the breath in is all about the length going up. Breath out, on the other hand, will help you a little further when you go around and you go deeper to the twist, deeper to the sides. Inhale, length, exhale, twist. Keep the neck soft, relaxed, not involved. It's not about looking behind you. Not about pushing the neck far here. No need at all. You'll often find if you get the middle of your body moving well, the neck will look after itself. And then ease back off that. Lovely. Okay. I'm going to take you into a little relaxation, just a few minutes, just to complete the whole vibe of it all. So go back to where you were at the start, lying on your back, put on socks, put on a woolly jumper or a hoodie or something, and let's stop again. Let's bring the movement down. I'll guide you through once you get yourself comfortable. You can dim the lights if you want. You can close your eyes. I hope you're feeling ready to do that. And after all strong work, invite your body to come down to a level now on the mat where it has no work, where you're almost rewarding it with this peace and quiet and ease after the challenge. Often you hear the faraway sounds again. You might hear things outside or in different rooms, things you realize you have not noticed for the past hour. You might just hear your breath. Your mind might go straight away into the connection points between your body and the mat. All of these sensations are always there for you. I'll try and bring your attention to them, because you know what? They take your mind away from all the stuff, all the chat that goes on in your head. Your body, your breath is where you relax. And getting to know it through yoga or through whatever you do to slow down and to look after yourself, whatever that thing is. Bit by bit, we continue to dissolve anything that you don't need, anything that might weigh you down on a daily basis. Our practice, our movement, it'll work on it. In particular, this first practice of this new year, let's take away any concept of a new year as such. It's only a number. Perhaps instead, this practice might help you to figure out in what way are you going to allow yourself to renew yourself. In what way are you going to allow yourself to let go, to be kinder to yourself, and to create not a new you, because you are you. You don't need to be a new you. But maybe to work towards peace, happiness, regardless of what goes on away from your mat. The beauty of your practice, and in particular of this slowdown time, is that you get to choose who you are in this moment. You get to choose what your focus is. And I highly recommend the focus is your breath. If you find that a little challenging to hang on to or to stay with, tune into the parts of you that are in touch with the floor, the contact points between you and the mat. And every exhale, allow a little more ease to come over you, to come over your body, to come into your breath. A little more ease, a little more softness, and a little more kindness to yourself. Almost a little more friendliness, if that's possible. All of that motion, all of that movement now settling like a little snow globe. You've shaken it up. You're giving everything time to come down. Remember, you choose what you focus on, and sometimes it can be as simple as an inhale and an exhale. Take a little moment to feel grateful for the good health that you have, to be able to practice like this, like you did today, like you did this evening. And then start to stir a tiny little bit of movement back into your feet, back into your hands, back into yourself. And eventually, you know, when you're ready, gently move enough again so you can roll onto your side if that suits you, and then eventually back up to sitting. I hope you feel the benefits of that for hours to come. Tonight, tomorrow, and beyond. Thanks so much. First class back. Well done, you guys, and welcome into anybody new who's joined us there this evening. I'll be here again on Thursday late. I'll be here all the time. It's my sitting room. I'll see you from my sitting room to your home. Take care. Thanks a million.
Thanks, Orla.
Bye. See ya.
Thanks a million, Orla.
Bye bye.
Thanks, Orla.
Yeah.
Thanks, Orla.
Bye.
Thanks, Orla.
I don't know where the time goes. Bye.